On three, say it with me. 3, 2, 1. Goodbye, warranty! Alright. These two bikes are running. This one's not. That's the new e-bike. And hiding in there is the Mark V, which I have a few plans for that, and I'm waiting on a few extra things to come in the mail before I crack that open. But that e-bike there is what I want to talk about. Alrighty, so the e-bike, while not particularly fast compared to the motors, of course, is still an absolute cinch to ride. But there's something I've got to do, is I have absolutely got to put a kickstand on it, because as it stands I've got to lean it up against whatever I can find. Now, in here we have our custom, well, it's not custom made at all, it's purpose built, I should say, for the e-bike. Now, there was a little plastic guard held in with 2 Allen screws at the back there, and this bad boy slots right over the top like that. This is a proper metal, good quality piece of kit. Now, I'm going to apologise in advance for my crappy camera work. Hello, I'm sideways. You're only on the second step here, but that's the best camera angle that I can do. Outside on the stairs. So, 2 5mm Allen bolts and a threaded, as I showed you earlier, mounting point. Up, down. I'll get my fat hands out of the way and I can show you. We just loosely poke them through like that. Now, just making sure that this was seated firmly on the frame. I don't want to force these threads in, but they are nice and firm, which means they're not likely to vibrate out on me. So that bad boy is on, and it kind of looks the part too. Now, that's on maybe a bit too much of an angle for me, but luckily it's got these press studs in it. Oh no, that's already down as low as it can go. You don't want it too upright though, otherwise it runs the risk of falling the other way. The front wheel sort of naturally hangs to that side. Alright, so that's it. I no longer have to lean the bike up against the guardrail. So this e-bike behind me I've had for precisely 3 days, and it's a lot of fun, but I want to try and make it faster. Now, in doing this, I'm instantly voiding my warranty on a bike that cost used car money. So, on 3, say it with me. 3, 2, 1. Goodbye, warranty! So, in order to do this, the method that I've seen works most is by relocating this magnet and this sensor to the inside of the pedal. Now, the way this works is every rotation of this 29-inch tyre sends a message to the computer, which will set off the limit as soon as it calculates that you're going 25 k's an hour. It's not the same theory as smaller wheel equals more torque and not more speed, because we're not actually changing anything except for how often the magnet passes the sensor. Now, this is a T20H. It's a star pattern with a hollow point. So all I've got is an adapter sprocket there to go on here. Right, so all we're going to do, that's a very, very tight fit too, so we'll just sort of wangle. Is that zoomed in all the way still? Yes. We'll just sort of wangle that down in there, make sure it's nice and firm in your security bit, and then just ever so carefully wangle it loose. Now I'm going to put the camera down because I need two hands to hold this steady. Once you've broken the thread, you can just take it out with your fingertips. So I hope that now I've got this out, I can give you a better look at what that's like. Alright, so just use the proper piece, don't try and do anything fancy. I spent about $30 on that kit, and well, you can pretty much take apart anything that they don't expect you to be able to take out. So as soon as that's been undone, that just pops off. Now, that little magnet in there is the reader. Alright, now for safekeeping, I'm going to go ahead and thread that back into the frame because I do not want to lose that. Now, as far as the magnet's concerned, again, I like having the option of being able to put this back to stock. So I'm going to get a little bit of blue tape and just mark either side of where that magnet's sitting on that exact spoke. So all I've done there is a little bit of tape above and below where the magnet sits. Now there should be nothing fancy to popping that magnet off. It should just be a matter of getting in there with a screwdriver. Now, the theory is pretty simple. Okay, yes, it's a magnet, it sticks to the back of the pedal. However, if you lose that, all bets are off. Now, under here, there is just one black cable tie holding it in. Now, we're just going to snip that out, and you know what, I don't even think we need to snip it. We'll just re-cable tie that here. Now, it's important to note the direction of everything because the polarity of the magnets will make all the difference. Not wasting cable ties on this little project of mine. Now, instead of putting it right at the wheel, I'm going to try and move it a little bit closer to the middle because the smaller the circumference, theoretically the faster you'll go. This is of course magnetic, so the first flaw in my plan, I just contacted the motor. So they're not silly, that's for sure. What we need to do is mark the point on the pedal that will clear the motor. You just check that with a fingertip. Stick your finger in there. Right, they've gotten very clever with their design. The spacing is almost impossible to do what I'm trying to do. So they've gotten very cheeky in their design, is that there's not actually enough clearance between the pedal and the sensor and the magnet as it sits. All right. So this is why I had thought to move the magnet closer, but it's still not going to fit. So I've turned the bike around. Now this is magnetic, so the tape shouldn't interfere. I'm not going anywhere further than the backyard for this test, just in case anything falls off. But the magnet's in there. There's no clearance issues because the motor doesn't hang out this side like it does the other. So theoretically, I should be able to turn the bike on. And go for a little pedal around the backyard. So it's too difficult to tell whether it feels faster, but all I can tell is that the motor's engaging. So the main concern in this build is not losing the magnet. So we're going to wrap it in some quality electrical tape. Alright, so what I've done is I've wrapped it in black. I've thrown a cable tie around there just to help support it in. The same thing pretty much with the pedal, without the cable tie though, but I've wrapped it twice around the pedal and then just stuck an extra layer along the length, if I can get in there. Squish it right down. Even if it does sort of vibrate loose, I shouldn't, touch wood, lose it, because this tape is, well, it's the best quality you can buy pretty much. It's not cheap tape. So the next thing is to get the chest camera on, take it out on the street and see if we have a noticeable difference. I have to count that as a failure. It worked great. It got up to 34 k's an hour until I stopped pedaling, and I think whatever little sensor has thought, well, the back wheels stopped turning, must mean it's crashed, and the whole thing went into limp mode. A little red LED flashing up there and the motor wouldn't engage. So I'm going to go ahead now and put everything back the way it was, and fingers crossed I haven't bricked my bike. So I took the battery out, hopefully to give it a chance to reset and forget it had an error. And so by the time that I put it all back together and put the battery back in, it will go back to business as usual. So I've returned everything to stock as far as I can see. Fingers crossed, it all works fine. Right, so the bike is back to stock and working as normal, which is good. Now, this little project was a failure. Now, I have seen this done on YouTube of all places countless times, and people swear by it. They swear it makes it faster. I don't think it does at all. Now, there are companies that claim for a couple of $100 they can plug your bike into a laptop and de-restrict it. Now, for cost versus worth, no, leave them be. These bikes are just as fun to ride as they are, and this gearing is properly excellent. Within 2 or 3 cranks of the pedal, you're already going faster than 25, which is why it can seem annoying, but it is really, really simple, at least on flat ground, to maintain 30-35 kilometers an hour just pedaling. And whenever the motor thinks you needs it, it gives you a kick. You can ride this bike, look, I'm not going to be so bold as to say all day, but with ease for as long as the battery lasts. And even, as happened to me the other day, when the battery died, it's still a good quality bicycle that is easier to ride of its own accord.